Hello, I'm Cam, the chair of the Herefordshire HFA Youth Council, and welcome to episode 4 of our sit down with Team HFA.
I'm Dan Hoskins, the vice chairman of the Herefordshire HFA Youth Council.
And I'm Paul Cotton, the football services manager at the Herefordshire Football Association.
What is your favourite film?
Okay, for me, it's straightforward. It's a Clint Eastwood film. It's Heartbreak Ridge.
Ooh.
Now, reason for being that is obviously it relates to an old wily U.S. Marine gunnery sergeant who's put in charge of some down and out Marines, and he's tasked to put them in shape before he retires. But my link to it is that it's full of cheesy serviceman one-liners with the normal Clint Eastwood spin on it, and it's a nice, enjoyable film to watch on a Saturday afternoon when you've got nothing else to do. It just makes me laugh.
That's the best.
With the service humour.
That's the best way.
Yeah.
All right, here comes the serious questions.
Okay.
All right, question 1. Why did you become the football service manager at Herefordshire FA?
Okay. That's a bit of a long answer, really. I mean, all through my career, I've always played football for local teams, whether it be in the UK or overseas when I've been working there. And I've enjoyed football. It's been part of my life. I did all my coaching badges through the Army FA, and I've played for local clubs. And experiences I've used throughout my career have been good at administration. When I retired from the military, the job came up, and it felt like a no-brainer for me. Really, I enjoyed doing the administration side of things, and to be involved in football in the local area, ranging from youth all the way through to senior football, it was ideal, and I haven't looked back.
Thank you very much. So, Paul, where do you see the Youth Council being in 2 months' time?
I think, if anything, going progressing on the good foundations which has started over the last couple of years. I think it's just going from strength to strength. I know it's a throwaway line, but youth is the future, and having that structure of having a sort of council, guiding the youth of today within football, covering various topics. I think it's great, and you engage in the topics of the day. I see that even on previous events, you've been out and about and supporting the events, which has been great. So it's not as if you're staying out of sight; you're actually getting involved and embedded in the local football game, which is great. So strength to strength.
So, moving on from that question, what is your opinion on youth leadership?
Okay. I think it is essential, and it's a critical part of the HFA business as well. I think when you look at maybe the senior staff, and they've got their mentoring approach to bringing on the youth leaders of today. I think it is essential by engaging with the youth leadership. To a certain degree, you can keep us senior, or shall I say adult managers on our toes by even if it's just checking what we do, and having the gumption to do that and approach that in the fitting audience. So I think it's great. We can clear barriers for you to do your job, and from what I've seen so far, the youth council, you're embracing it and grabbing hold of it and taking it by the leads as such. So credit to.
Thank you.
All right. What has been your highlight since joining Herefordshire FA?
There's been a couple, actually. I think the big one, as I look outside the office now, is the development of the artificial grass pitch as a facility side of things. With regards to engaging with the youth, I think there's been the development of the player development centre, on the boys and the girls side of things, which is fantastic. And knowing the work that's gone in behind that by those involved is a credit to all. I think that it has been great, and I think also before COVID, we started doing a series of road shows where members of the staff from the office went out and held seminars at local clubs, to get their voices on what we're doing and how we're doing, but also to provide the opportunity for them to ask us questions rather than us just being at the end of a phone or an email. It's great to get out there and be personal engagement with our customers. So so that's good.
Next question is, if you could change one thing about your role, what would it be?
Okay. Since September last year, I've been more involved on the discipline side of things. And I think that with the current COVID restrictions and so whether it be everybody been promoted, the well-being of everybody and looking after everyone, it seems to be a shame that that mentality hasn't been brought forward to when people cross the touch line and get onto the playing field, because there's been so much het up frustration, it seems like, that obviously it's been seen with the number of discipline cases that have been submitted at the moment. So I just wish that there'd be a little bit more tolerance from individuals when it comes to their approach to discipline on the pitch. So that would be the thing, I think.
Yes. Have you watched the podcast series that the Youth Council have recently done?
Yes, I've watched a couple of them. Yeah.
And what has been your favourite episode and why?
Okay, for me, I think the disability one I watched, which was very informative, and I thought, those who are involved in the discussions as part of that recording, credit to them for being open and honest about their personal experiences and how they addressed those, and also how the messages there that for signposting so others, if they were to approach you with their issues. I think generally overall with regards to this sort of podcast, I think it's a credit to you that you're addressing the big issues of the day, and having that forum. And I know in the previous one which you did, you had another couple of participants from outside the sort of youth council on that, which was great. Going back to the disability one, it was good to see Ethan involved in that as well, because it's part of my local role involvement in football. I was a sort of coach for the civil service at the time, and obviously before I finished in that role, he used to attend our training sessions, and actually actively take part in them. And so it was good to see him on there and talking about, so you say, no barriers to football. If anything, football is great for them, which is good. And I say, he used to actively take part in our games, which we did in training. It was then good to see that he went on to do his coaching badges. It was his level 1 course through us here. And then, like you mentioned in the podcast, about doing the coaching for the Hinton CP sessions. So credit to him. So I think it's overall fantastic what has been done and been provided.
And for me, Paul, I think that's really, really good that you've said that, because you may or may not know this, but the majority of our youth council all have disabilities, so it's key that we have somebody leading us like Scott, because he's got that experience and he knows how to support us best. So that's really interesting, because every time we've asked that question, we've had a different answer. For example, Alan said that he liked the sexuality podcast, which was the final one we did. Joe has said the mental health one. You said the disability one. So it's going to be really interesting for us to see what the others say, what their favorite episodes are. And I think, and it is definitely worth a watch. Everybody should definitely watch the series, because a lot of effort was put into it, and we spoke about some really topical issues, and we had some really interesting guests along the way as well.
Yeah, which is great. And and to see that people want to contribute to that is a credit as well. And I know that you mentioned there about Scott involved in that, and that links back really to the question on about opinion of sort of youth leadership, and what I mentioned about sort of mentors, and so like the senior management, so like clearing barriers for you, so you're able to continue delivering what you're actually doing. So yeah, it's great. So it is a big embedded beast as such, the HFA with all its different strands within it. So yeah, good.
I'm just going to quickly hand over to Dan, and he's just got one question. It is a little bit light-hearted, so
okay.
Hopefully you'll laugh.
Bring it on.
Right. One final question, just for a bit of fun at the end.
Yeah.
We've heard that the HFA team all like to have a laugh, and all amazing people. Yeah. But if you could pick one member of the team that brings loads of laughs and smiles to the group, who would it be?
Has he prompted you with this one?
No.
Scott doesn't know.
All right.
Scott's not seen any of these questions.
I'm sure no matter what I say, the person who I'm going to nominate would have changed it when it comes to the final edit of the video. But for me, it's Scott, I have to say. I think the friendly banter that he brings to the office amongst the team, and when we have visitors in the office, it's great. And especially even when we've been doing like working from home and doing this like the regular catch-ups online, it's still, his jolly face has been there, and it's been carried on there that we're back in the office as well. So yeah, as much as I hate to say it, it's Scott.
So thank you so much, Paul. So that is the end of episode 4 of the Sit Down with Team HFA. We will be putting this podcast out on HFA TV in the next couple of weeks, and we will be recording episode 5 in the next week or so.